A waitress loses her job for defending an elderly biker from teenage bullies, but just 2 hours later, an unexpected army arrives that leaves her boss in shock. The afternoon shift at Mel's diner was slow, with only a few customers scattered around. Emma Carter, a 25-year-old waitress, wiped down a table, keeping an eye on the door. She had worked here for 2 years. Not her dream job, but it paid the bills. Then, the bell above the door jingled, and in walked an elderly biker, long grey beard, weathered leather jacket, and boots that had seen the road for decades. He took a quiet seat in the corner, nodding politely as Emma handed him a menu. "What can I get you, sir?" she asked with a warm smile. "Just coffee for now, sweetheart," he said with a gravelly voice. Emma poured his coffee, but before she could leave, loud laughter erupted from a booth nearby. 3 teenage boys, no older than 17, were whispering and snickering, throwing glances toward the old biker. Something about their smirks sent a bad feeling through Emma's gut. One of them, a cocky kid in a varsity jacket, leaned over and sneered, "Hey, old man, shouldn't you be in a retirement home instead of pretending you're in a biker gang?" His friends howled with laughter. Emma's stomach twisted. The elderly biker didn't react, simply taking a slow sip of his coffee. The teen leaned in further. "What, cat got your tongue? Or did you forget how to speak with all that highway dust in your brain?" Emma had enough. She slammed her tray onto the table, making all 3 teens jump. "That's enough," she snapped. "If you don't have the decency to respect your elders, then you don't belong in here." The varsity kid scoffed. "Relax, lady. We're just having fun." Emma folded her arms. "Oh, really? Let's see how funny it is when I throw you out." The kid's smirk disappeared. "Wait, you can't do that." She shot him a glare. "Watch me." The diner had fallen completely silent. Other customers were watching, waiting to see what would happen next. The teens grumbled, pushing their plates aside. "Whatever, this place sucks anyway." They stormed out, still muttering under their breath. Emma exhaled, turning back to the elderly biker. "I'm so sorry about that, sir." He gave her a small, knowing smile. "Not the first time I've run into punks like that. Won't be the last." But before Emma could respond, a sharp voice rang out. "Emma, my office, now." She turned to see her manager, Frank, glaring at her. A sinking feeling hit her chest. She followed him into the back office, where he slammed the door shut. "What the hell was that?" Frank's face was red with anger as he threw his hands in the air. "What were you thinking, Emma? You don't just throw out paying customers." Emma stood her ground. "They were harassing an elderly man. I wasn't going to let that slide." Frank scoffed. "They were just kids messing around. You embarrassed them in front of the whole diner." Emma's jaw clenched. "They were bullies, Frank. And if standing up for someone gets me in trouble, so be it." Frank's expression hardened. "Well, since you're so eager to act like a hero, you can do it somewhere else." Emma's breath hitched. "Wait, are you firing me?" Frank crossed his arms. "Damn right I am. Get your things and get out." Emma felt like she had been punched in the gut. She had worked here for 2 years, putting up with long shifts, rude customers, and Frank's awful management. But now, she was being thrown out for doing the right thing. She swallowed the lump in her throat. Fine. Turning on her heel, she stormed out of the office, grabbed her bag, and walked past the elderly biker, who was watching her with concern. "I take it that didn't go well," he muttered. Emma forced a smile. "Let's just say, I'm available for new job opportunities." The old man's eyes darkened. He nodded slowly and took another sip of his coffee, as if deep in thought. Emma sighed and pushed open the diner door, not looking back. But what she didn't know? The elderly biker wasn't just any old man, and in exactly 2 hours, something would happen that no one in town would ever forget. 2 hours later, the roar that shook the town. Frank was in his office, feeling smug. Emma had been a good waitress, sure, but defying him. That was unacceptable. But just as he leaned back in his chair, a deep rumbling sound filled the air. Engines, loud, powerful, dozens of them. Frank frowned and stood up, walking toward the front of the diner. The sound grew louder, not just a couple of bikes, but what sounded like a storm of motorcycles roaring down the street. Then the diner shook as one by one, bikers began pulling into the parking lot. Not 5, not 10, 500. The customers inside pressed against the windows, eyes wide, as an endless wave of leather jackets and roaring engines took over the entire street. Frank's smug grin vanished. And then the elderly biker stepped forward. Only now he wasn't alone. He was surrounded by men and women in matching leather vests, each marked with the same emblem: Iron Legion Motorcycle Club. Frank stumbled back as the old man approached the diner's entrance, flanked by hundreds of bikers. With a calm but undeniable authority, he pushed the door open. Frank's voice shook. What the hell is this?" The old biker smirked. "Oh, this?" He gestured toward the army of bikers behind him. "Just some friends who don't take kindly to disrespect." Frank's throat went dry. I don't understand." The old man stepped closer. "Let me spell it out for you. You fired a damn good waitress today, one who stood up for a veteran when no one else did." His eyes hardened. "That veteran just so happens to be me." Gasps rippled through the diner. Frank's face turned ghostly pale. "You're a veteran?" The old man chuckled darkly. "Marine Corps, 1969 to 1974. And this?" He gestured toward the bikers outside. "This is my family, my brothers and sisters, and we don't let disrespect slide." Frank staggered back, panic setting in. Look, I didn't know." The old man cut him off. "That's the problem. You never bothered to know. You fired a good woman for doing the right thing." Frank swallowed hard, sweat forming on his brow. Then the old biker turned toward the customers. "Now, let me ask all of you, who here thinks this diner deserves to stay in business?" Silence. Then, one by one, the customers stood up from their tables and began walking out. All of them. The diner emptied within minutes. Even Frank's staff took off their aprons and left the building. Frank watched in horror as his business collapsed right in front of him. The old biker leaned in one last time. "Karma's a funny thing, ain't it?" Then he turned and walked out, joining his army of bikers. Frank stood there, his once bustling diner now completely deserted. Meanwhile, across town, Emma sat at a small cafe, sipping coffee, scrolling through job listings on her phone. Then she heard it, the roar of engines. She turned just in time to see a massive convoy of motorcycles pulling up to the cafe. Her jaw dropped as she recognized the old biker, the same man she had defended. He parked right in front of her, took off his helmet and grinned. "Told you we'd take care of it." Emma blinked. What did you do?" The old man chuckled. "Let's just say, Frank won't be needing that manager title anymore." One of the other bikers stepped forward, holding out a small envelope. "This is for you." Emma hesitantly took it and opened it. Inside was a stack of cash, a lot of it. She gasped. I can't take this." The old man smirked. "Oh, you can, and you will. Consider it a thank you from the Iron Legion." Emma's hands trembled. "I don't know what to say." The old biker put a hand on her shoulder. "You don't need to say anything. You did right by me. And in my world, we take care of our own." Tears burned in Emma's eyes as she hugged the old man. She had lost her job. But in return, she had gained something far greater: loyalty, family, and a reminder that doing the right thing always pays off. 1 week later, a new beginning. Emma stood in front of a brand new building, gripping the keys in her hands. The sign above the entrance gleamed under the morning sun. Iron Haven Cafe. Her cafe. Her own business. She still couldn't believe it. After the biker army shut down Mel's diner, word spread like wildfire. Local news picked up the story. Bikers take down restaurant after waitress, fired for defending veteran. People rallied behind Emma. Donations poured in. The Iron Legion refused to let her struggle. They pooled their resources, found her a vacant cafe, and within a week helped her open her own place. Now, as she unlocked the door to her first official day as an owner, she felt a mix of excitement and disbelief. The old biker, Tom Grizzly Walker, stood beside her, arms crossed with a proud grin. "Told you we take care of our own," he said. Emma laughed softly. "I never expected this." Grizzly chuckled. "Neither did Frank, but hey, karma's funny like that." Emma turned the sign to open, her heart pounding with anticipation. Within minutes, bikers, veterans, and locals flooded in, eager to support her new venture. The place buzzed with energy, laughter, and gratitude. And as she served her first cup of coffee, she realized something. She didn't just get justice. She got a family, a future, and the kind of loyalty that lasts a lifetime. Across town, Frank's fate. Meanwhile, Frank sat alone in his empty, bankrupt diner, staring at an out-of-business sign taped to the door. He had spent years treating people like they were disposable. Now, he was the one left behind. And as he watched Ironhaven Cafe thrive from a distance, he finally understood. You never know who you're messing with until it's too late.